Well, the NBA Finals is set. The Boston Celtics versus the Dallas Mavericks. It's no doubt that the Mavericks played harder competition in the playoffs since they only played one injured team, while the Celtics played three injured teams. But that's not what I wanted to talk about. The word on the street is that this is the weakest finals run of all time. And what we call LeBron's finals run week, which is, in hindsight, some of them were no doubt, I have decided to go back and figure out what was statistically the worst finals run of all time, and I made a list of them. And here's the list. The first thing that you can notice is that there are three different versions of Magic and Kareem's Lakers on here. And I think I know why. Back then there were only like 22, 23 teams in the league, and which means 16 of them made the playoffs. Michael Jordan got hurt in his second season with the Bulls, and he had a pretty mediocre team, man. They fell to 30 and 52 on the season, and they were still able to make the playoffs. Granted, they did get bounced in the first round by the Celtics, but they still were able to make it. So the second thing on this list that you could probably notice is that the Nuggets from last year on out here, which surprisingly no one really talks about this. I think that is because they played healthy teams besides the Suns, and the sweep on the Lakers 2 weeks later, and it made people forget about that instantly. Let's be honest. Now there are two LeBron teams on here. That is something that I was actually surprised by when I was doing my research. There's two LeBron teams on here, and these are the only two teams from the modern era besides the Nuggets, but it makes sense when you think about the context, which I will get on with later in the video. Now you're probably thinking that this video is about the 2024 Celtics and they are nowhere to be found. Well, that is because the average opponent win is 47, and that may not seem like more than the others, but there are 23 other final teams in between that little 2-win gap right there. But people don't just talk about the records for this one, because in hindsight it's not their fault that they played this competition. I mean, the Celtics earned it. They had the best record in the whole entire NBA, just like the Nuggets did last year, and they got rewarded by playing 2 8th seeds and the 7th seed in the playoffs/finals. So back to the point though, people were talking about the star players being injured. As you can see on the screen, there are a lot of stars injured. I'm not going to talk about Giannis and Dame, but there was Jimmy Butler, Julius Randle, Jalen Brunson, Jared Allen, Tyrese Halliburton, Donovan Mitchell, which is all valid. And those were the best players from each of those teams in each round. And the Mavericks are obviously 100% healthy, so this is going to be the Celtics' first true test in these finals coming up. But with that being said, the Celtics are going to steamroll the East. Whether these players were healthy or not, besides the Bucks or the Sixers, I don't know. But the Pacers and the Knicks went to 7, while the Celtics took care of the Cavs in 5. So they've been at home resting for a while. And even with the Celtics were up 2-0 before Halliburton got injured, so I think that they're going to probably sweep them, or at least take it to 6 or 5. But back to what I wanted to say, there was actually the worst finals run of all time. When you add context, I did a ton of research, and I came to the conclusion that the 2007 Cavs were actually the worst finals teams of all time, or at least in the modern era. So they played 2 41-win teams. The Wizards missing Gilbert Arenas, who, mind you, averaged 34, 5-5 on the Cavs the year before in the playoffs. And the Pistons were missing Ben Wallace, one of the greatest defenders of all time. And the Nets didn't have Nena Kristic, who I hope I am pronouncing that right, but if you don't know this guy, don't worry, I didn't either, but he averaged 16 points and 7 on the season, which is the same about a PJ Washington, Austin Reeves, like that type of caliber player, which is pretty good. But not only that though, in the game 6 of the Eastern Conference Finals, in the closeout game, LeBron shot 3 for 11. Yeah, that's right, 3 for 11. A lot of people don't know about this, but LeBron had an amazing game, 48 points, 25 straight in game 5. So it kind of overshined this one, and the Cavs won this game. So he shot 3 for 11 in the closeout game, and they won by 15. So I guarantee you, if Steph Curry did this in the 2022 Western Conference Finals, or Jokic did this last year in the closeout game of the Western Conference Finals, and a team that won by 15, I guarantee you everyone would be trying to discredit it or calling it a super team, like how they are with the Celtics. But this is why they got swept in the finals. I do think that if LeBron was in his prime, then they would have beaten the Spurs team. If you go back, you can see the point differential was less than 5 in each of them, besides 1. But that's for my next video actually. But leave a like if you enjoyed. Let me know what your predictions of this finals are, and of course, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Peace.